Hey everybody, my name's Josh Kittle, and I wanted to do a quick little gear review for you on something I've been playing around with for a few months. This is called a NetTool. It's about the size of a USB phone charger, battery bank, if you will. It's got a USB port for charging and then an Ethernet port. And what this thing will do is it'll plug in to an Ethernet cable that goes off to some mysterious location, and it'll tell you about the network that you're connecting to. So it'll tell you what switch port you're plugged into, some information about its provisioning, IP addressing, etc. I'll show you that here in a minute. To start off, I'm going to push and hold the power button for a few seconds until it blinks at me. Once it blinks at me, I will release the button and we'll let this thing power up. My battery's kind of low on it, so hopefully we have enough juice. There we go. So the light's on. We're going to just wait a minute, and it should power up. I'm going to go to my settings for wireless on my iPad, and I'm going to look for a NetTool network to show up. I'm not so sure I powered that on correctly. Let me push and hold this button again. There we go. I think that's more appropriate. So we got one little blue light. It should start flashing here in a second, I believe, and let me know that it's booting. And actually, I'm just going to set it down and wait patiently until that network shows up here in our network list on the iPad. And then we'll select it. And then we'll go into the NetTool app, and I'll show you how to use that. Okay, it stopped blinking. I believe any moment now we should see the wireless come up. Now, it's my understanding that you can also connect this to your enterprise wireless. So if you're walking around the building, etc., and your iPhone or iPad's also on your enterprise network, that you can communicate that way. So there we go. Choose a network, NetTool default. So we'll go ahead and we'll connect to that network. While I'm doing that, I'll go ahead and launch the NetTool IO app. And I already had the app running, so let me kind of... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close the app completely and reopen it so you can see it launch from scratch. Come here, back. It already knows my NetTool, but I kind of want to start over not connected here. There we go. There we go. Searching for NetTools. So this is what it would do when you power it on for the first time. So it's going to look for the NetTool, and it found it pretty quickly. I'm going to click NetTool default, and I'm kind of pairing the app with the device. So I'll go ahead and set the device to the side here. And you'll see under NIC status, it says port down. Well, I'm going to take this Ethernet cable, going to who knows where, and plug it into the NetTool. We'll watch, and we'll get a green link light. There we go. Now I can set the tool down. And what we'll do is we will watch as the tool discovers the network, discovers my Ethernet settings and my IP addressing and the switch that it's connected to, and it'll actually go out and perform a ping test to the default gateway and to Google, because that's what's programmed into it. Now, the way this thing works is it's either listening for Cisco Discovery Protocol or LLDP, Link Layer Discovery Protocol, or Link Local, I forget which one it stands for. They're both two Layer 2 discovery protocols used to communicate from device to device to say, hey, which VLAN, etc. So we're going to be able to tell you the name of the switch I'm connected to, the port I'm connected to, what its native VLAN ID is, the IP address of the switch if you need to get in and do some management or perhaps change the programming once you've discovered how it's programmed. It can take about 60 seconds, give or take, to go through the whole spanning tree, blocking, listening, learning, forwarding process. So if it takes a moment before the data shows up, that's okay. That's perfectly normal. So we've got some switch data here. We're starting to get some Ethernet data here. And let's take a look what it tells us. So the NIC status is up. Momentarily, I imagine we'll pull a LAN IP. We haven't yet. Let me skip down to the switch section, and then we'll come back up. So the switch, the native VLAN ID is 1. I'm connected to port gigabit 102. The IP of the switch is 10.10.210.3, and it's called Closet 3750. You can see that I've done an internet ping test to Google which is kind of interesting since I haven't yet done my gateway ping test. I'm not sure what that's about, but we should momentarily get the LAN IP that's been assigned to the NetTool, as well as the gateway and DNS settings and subnet mask, and then it should also give me a gateway ping test. There we go. So we've got our LAN IP 10.10.210.196. Our gateway is 10.10.210.1. LAN DNS, we've got settings there, our subnet mask, and our public IP address. That's something I don't remember seeing early on in the testing. Maybe they've added that. They're actually detecting what NAT I'm behind, so that's the public IP I'm hiding behind for my NAT. And then, yeah, so we've got the gateway ping test. So my gateway ping test is 52 milliseconds. It's wireless, you know, so whatever. And the internet ping test, what, 37 milliseconds? Kind of interesting. But, I mean, that's pretty cool, right? If you needed to know where a port goes, or even inventory a closet and know where all the ports go, or, a switch and figure out where, what are the ports on the wall or room, whatever kind of identification task you have, this can help you do it. I can tag this port with a name. We can call it Josh. And it will then retain in memory the details that we've learned from this port. Once we've done a discovery, we can actually send that information to a text message recipient, an email recipient, add to notes. I can post it on Twitter. I'm sure lots of people post their port information on Twitter, but let me do add to notes. And it's going to show you here, for this note, all of the information, the pertinent information about that port that I just discovered. And I could click save and save it, or I could text it to, my coworker across the building or whatever. But that's pretty cool. Let me show you some of the settings in this thing. You've got NetTool mode, and inside of NetTool mode, it can be in switch discovery mode, or it looks like they've turned something on called host discovery mode. That looks like that might be a beta feature. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I might play with that later. We've got Wi-Fi settings. You can see here that I am in Wi-Fi access point mode rather than, client mode, which is just how I chose to do this demo. We've got settings for the Ethernet port. Let's see what those are. So looks like we've got a user-definable MAC address, simple router mode, DHCP, and 802.1x support in beta. So that'll be kind of neat when you can 802.1x the thing. For those of you who aren't aware of 802.1x, it's a feature that allows you to do, we'll call it authentication for lack of a better term, before connecting to a network. We've got information about NetTool Cloud for remote sharing of data. We can run updates, toggle switches. Let's see what's under toggle switches. This is our geek settings, the nerd knobs. So you can turn on or off features like ping internet, ping gateway, tag VLAN discovery. Looks like it can support LACP, a couple of other things in here. That's kind of neat. And let's see what else. We're just about through most of the settings. Discovery timers, and then about. So we'll go ahead for the sake of it. Looks like my current firmware build is 48 as of this demo. That's kind of all I really got to show you about the NetTool. I mean, there are more things it can do. I'll let you go to their website, NetTool, NETOOL.io, and check out the user's guide for information, certainly to a lot greater degree than I've shown you here. But cool little tool. It's not expensive. They provided me this one for the demo, so I didn't pay anything for it. But looking at their website right now, their standard pricing, it looks like it's $169. And that may be a discounted price because it says 15% off the $199 MSRP. So that may be a short-lived thing. So if you get it now, you might get a better deal than if you wait until later. Thanks, guys, for providing this to me for review, and thank you for your patience. I know that I've been teasing and alluding to doing it for a while, but I really wanted to make sure that I had time to do it justice before we just rushed something out there. So if you guys have any comments or questions, leave them in the feedback below. If you have a NetTool and have been using it, let's hear how you're using it and what your thoughts are. And again, their website is NETOOL.io. Great bunch of guys. They have been very responsive to my questions throughout this process. And, well, there you go. Until next time, talk to you later.